All right, folks, this is Jack Antonio of Do You Know Jack bringing on special guest, the Dead Daisies, one and only John Corabi. How you doing, my friend?
I'm very well. I'm just checking in for our yearly phone call.
Yeah, I guess, I guess it's about well, you're busy, right? I mean, you're definitely, there's at least 5 or 6 things on the go at any given time. I think you mentioned you're on your way to do some video IDs for the Dead Daisies or something like that.
Yes, sir. Um, there's definitely never a dull moment in the Dead Daisies camp. There's always something to do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, you guys are about to hit the road, or maybe you're sort of in between tour stops right now, right? I think you head out to Japan in a few weeks, if my information here is correct.
I didn't. You kind of cut out for a second. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I said you must be in between. I think you're in between tour stops right now, about to head out to Japan in a couple of weeks.
Yes. We just did about 6 weeks in the UK and Europe, and came home for a couple weeks. Kind of little break there, and then we're actually heading to Japan in actually, I guess, about a week. We're heading to Japan, and then from there we come back over to Europe and do like some festivals and solo
Yeah,
shows again,
yeah.
and then it's back to America, and it's onward and upward through America and Canada.
There you go. Well, there might be a very polite hedge separating our two countries very soon at the rate we're going diplomatically here, though, man.
Yes, and it's crazy how things are unfolding, and I usually try to stay out of politics, especially here in America. Everybody's like really insanely, with a heavy emphasis on insane, passionate about the new, the president and politics, and just they he's either loved or hated, and there is no in between, my friend. It's crazy. So, and apparently it's spreading now to Canada. So
Yeah,
I
we're about as shocked as you are, I think.
yeah, I think everybody is. I don't know what the final, the end game is here, but we'll see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair.
Hopefully, it won't make my border crossings into Canada more difficult, because they already were. But hopefully, it won't be. Whatever. Let's
Yeah.
just keep our fingers crossed.
Well, now here's an interesting question. I mean, literally with the Daisies, you're hitting just about every corner of the world and every continent, maybe except for Antarctica. I mean, like, and that's a lot of different cultures that you're encountering. I mean, from a cultural perspective, is there any different things that you have to do preparation wise? I'm thinking about, when I watched the Global Metal documentary, and Lars was talking about how it's customary for people in Japan to gift toothbrushes and other things like that.
To get what now?
To gift, traveling musicians with toothbrushes. Maybe this is, I mean, I've never been over this, so I wouldn't know.
I don't know. I to be honest with you, I maybe they don't like me. I've never been gifted a toothbrush, but I have been gifted incredibly beautiful gifts from the folks in Japan.
Uh-huh.
It's somehow, it's crazy. They've kind of figured out my shoe size, and they
Oh,
know that I like wearing Converse. So I have a bunch of fans over there that every time I go over, they find me some crazy pair of high top Converse that are only available in Japan, and they give me those. They give me
wow.
chocolates. They give me hats, scarves. But I don't think I've ever been given a toothbrush.
That's just, I know that that's like a weird aside. It's just something that I noticed. Like, I watched the Global Metal documentary a bunch of times, and I always go, Lars gets toothbrushes when he goes to Japan. That seems odd, but maybe that's just a thing. But I mean, it sounds like, receiving gifts though from the Japanese populace is pretty normal.
Yeah, they're notorious for that. Tommy, even back when I was in Motley, Tommy and Nikki and Mick, they were like, Dude, the Japanese fans they're awesome. They'll give you like really cool, back then, Tommy and Mickey said it wasn't unlike a Japanese fan to give them like some crazy Blu-ray player or like a Walkman or a DAT player or something crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've gone over, and it's weird. Like they just kind of, it's funny, but they're very polite, extremely polite. They're so excited to see you. But they do their research. It's weird. They know when my birthday is. They know when my wedding anniversary is. They know when my kids' birthdays are.
Wow.
And I'll do a gig, and they'll give me something to give to my wife on our anniversary. Or they'll give me something. Like if they give me something, they usually have a little gift in the bag for me to give to my wife. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's awesome. But there are certain things, like when I was there, I never realized, there are certain cultural things that you have to be aware of. I just remember one time eating sushi with the guys in Motley, and we were having sushi, and Nicky took his chopsticks, and not thinking, he wasn't being a smart ass or anything like that, but he just took the chopsticks and like stuck them in the rice, and he went to go do something. And in Japanese culture, like if you stick the chopsticks in the rice, so they're sticking up out of the rice bowl, it's basically you're saying like F you to the cook.
No way.
Or you're like disrespecting the cook or disrespecting the establishment, the restaurant. And, so the proper way is to take your chopsticks and lay them across the bowl. You know what I mean? Which I didn't know, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
there are certain things in all countries, there's little things that you just do and don't do. And you pick up on it pretty quick.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You're a guest. I was always told, my mom told me, two things. Don't ever go into someone's house and open their refrigerator, and don't ever put your feet on their table. You know what I mean? So, and as long as you remember simple things like that, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, that's fair.
And also, just don't go to Canada and go, Trump's awesome, ain't he?
Indeed. Well, you are, like you said, you are heading up to Canada a little later on. In late August, you hit up London, Ontario on August 23rd, Toronto, August 24th. Yeah. Ottawa, August 25th, and then, of course, rounding it out with Montreal, August 26th. I mean, is there anything weird culturally about Canada normally that you have to prepare for?
Well, I was just recently told, and maybe you can help clarify this.
Sure.
But I was just recently told that the name of the club in English is the Electric Ass.
Oh, let me look now. I think you're right. I'm not the world's most strongest speaker of French.
I'm kind of scratching my head. It's like foos or something like that.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Like
Foufoun électrique. Yeah, oui.
So that means basically the electric ass.
Well, now this tour is kind of, I suppose, on the strength of your latest release, which is entitled Burn It Down. Came out April 6th on SPV. But yes. the man himself, Marti Fredriksen, producing. That's pretty cool. He's got quite a long list of very interesting and very eclectic artists he's worked with over the years.
Yeah, you know what? Marty is insane in a really good way. He's a great producer. He knows how to get great sounds.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest part of the whole scenario is he's an amazing songwriter.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people don't realize that he, with Steven Tyler, co-wrote songs like Jaded, and he co-wrote a bunch of the stuff on the Motley Crue Saints of Los Angeles record.
That's right, yeah.
So Marty's been around forever, and he's a great songwriter, and I love the fact that we've kind of got our for lack of a better term, I think every great band has that one guy behind the board that gets what they're trying to do. And, for the Beatles, it was, George Martin.
Mm-hmm,
For Aerosmith, it was Jack Douglas forever, Bruce Fairbairn, Marty. Now we've got our guy, and he actually helps us. We talk in advance. We go, yeah, we just want to do an old school rock and roll, like 70s rock record. And he's like, I'm in. Yep, I get it.
Yeah.
And he helps translate all the ideas from our brains to what you hear. So it's actually, I think we found our guy, and I'm hoping that we can work with him, for a long, long time.
Well, now he knows kind of how to just cut to the chase with you guys too, right? Like, he knows how to trim the fat off the songs and just keep things simple, which, I mean, I think that's maybe your calling card, is you've got that classic rock simplicity about you that has a focus on the songs. I mean, you guys have got great players as well, but I mean, the songs stand out first and foremost in my mind.
Yeah, and I mean, that's part of any good producer. He tells you when to trim the fat. He tells you when you're being too self-indulgent, and then there's other times when he tells you you're not being self-indulgent enough. You know what I mean? So, Marty's just the right guy for this job. You know what I mean? I love working with him. I actually just recently saw him. We went to, my wife and his wife, we both have motorhomes.
Uh-huh.
So we went to a lake for the weekend. We were just hanging out and having some cocktails, just talking about music and different things. And I told him, man, I said, I want to write with you outside of the Daisies, write maybe some music for other people,
Wow.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Possible John Corabi solo project? Is this what you're thinking? Or just co-writing just in general?
Just in general. Obviously I've done I did an acoustic record, and
Mm-hmm.
I did the live album.
Yes.
And contractually I'm scheduled to give Rat Pack a brand new solo record with all new material.
Great.
So I'm, I wouldn't be against working with Marty on that as well.
Amazing. Getting back to Burn It Down, though, I mean, you talked about those, sort of classic rock sensibilities that Marty has. I mean, you guys went into the studio with absolutely nothing and produced this brilliant, at times even introspective record after a mere 5 weeks. That is quite the feat in this modern day and age where you've got all these toys and bells and whistles in front of you, is it not?
It's honestly, man, we just do what we do. You know what I mean? Like there is really no, any of the bells or whistles. That's Marty's job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We just write the way we write. We're not reinventing a wheel. We're just putting our stamp on it, and we're doing our own thing. And we just, not to sound cliched or, repetitive, but we just kind of go into the studio. Every record that we've done,
mm-hmm.
nobody comes in with a finished song because we're all writing the songs together.
Mm-hmm.
So we just come in with riffs, and we let the process take us where it's going to take us. Even with this record, we had 3 or 4 songs written before we kind of struck on the 4th or 5th song, and it was a total fluke. It was an accident, but we were writing in New York City at Alicia Keys' personal studio,
mm-hmm.
and the engineer gave Marco a bass pedal and said, "Dude, you got to try this. It's going to change your life." So Marco got the bass pedal. And it was like this old school. I can't describe it, but it's like that heavy, distorted sound that like Geezer Butler used to use back in the 70s,
mm-hmm.
and Mel Satcher from Grand Funk Railroad used to use.
Yeah.
So we're playing around with it. Marco starts playing this riff, which became What Goes Around Comes Around.
Nice.
And we were like, oh man, we jumped on it. We wrote the song. We got it where we wanted it. And then Doug goes, well, that's a bit heavier than I thought we were going to go, but check this one out. And he came up, he threw what became Rise Up, it was just, and it was really just kind of like the guitar parts, a couple of the guitar parts, and then we all jumped on that, and it became Rise Up. And at that point, we just went, oh, this is the direction we're going in. Because we were hands down across the board, everybody was freaking out about the 2 new songs.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of followed it, if that makes any sense at all.
It does. And it's interesting that you were recording in New York at Alicia Keys' studio. I was thinking now, you've done a fair amount of recording over the years. Is there a studio on the bucket list that you've ever wanted to work in? Like, I know Electric Ladyland is in New York and still functional as far as I know. I mean, have you been in there before?
I've never been. I've actually worked with Eddie Kramer with Scream.
Uh-huh.
But I was never in the studio. But you know what, dude? I don't really care. Like, my thing is, I just want a good, good environment to write in, and good tones on the record. And if it means recording it in my bathroom, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? To me, I'm more concerned with the end result.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we didn't actually record at Alicia's studio. We just kind of sat up there and we wrote, and we were demoing the ideas as we were going.
Nice.
And then we're like, okay, I think we got the record, and we just packed everything up. We came back down to Nashville, and we went into Marti's studio here in Nashville, and then we started tracking the whole record. We did the whole record here.
Now, you did mention with Rat Pack Records that, you did the live 94 One Night in Nashville album that came out back in February on Rat Pack Records.
Yeah, I mean, the release date was in February. We actually, it's funny, nowadays it's not really about the release date. It's more about the pre-order date.
Uh-huh.
So that came out in, like January 10th or something like that.
Yeah. Now, like, I know you've been doing a lot of work around the 94 record over the last probably 2 or 3 years, because I can remember us talking as far back maybe as like 2015 on this. Is it fine? Like, are you moving forward now finally from that record? Like, is it time to kind of let that go, or like, where are you at now that you've had a chance to thoroughly revisit and re-explore it?
I'm not going to do any more focus solely on the 94 stuff anymore. I'll probably put a couple of songs in my set.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love my fans. They've been nothing but supportive of my entire career.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, I was advertising that I was doing this Motley 94 thing, and then I would get done doing the set for 2 hours, and I would come off stage, and they would go, "Well, I'm kind of bummed out. You didn't do any Scream or Union."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Well, but it's the Motley 94. Yeah, but I still wanted to hear like Man in the Moon and Do Your Own Thing, and I get it." So I just said, you know what? I did the record. It's out there for prosperity, and from now on, I'm going to do. When I book some shows with my solo band, I'm going to do a little bit of the Scream, a little bit of the Motley, a little bit of Union. I'll do maybe even some Dead Daisies and new material.
Awesome.
You know what I mean? I don't think it's really fair to like focus on, one specific thing. You know what I mean? So I want to just kind of do a little bit of everything. I'm done with it. You know what I mean? I appreciate my time with Motley. I had a great time. I love those guys. I wish them the best of luck in their future endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, I think it's time to be my own guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the Dead Daisies and, my solo stuff is going to help create my own little niche.
Well, I think it's safe to say that, the Daisies now, they have so much street cred and respect that I'm pretty sure you're well on your way. Listen, man, it's been great chatting with you as it always is right here on Do You Know Jack, and of course, you're going to be up in Canada later on in August. And, good luck and best wishes as you embark on your trip with the Daisies out to Japan.
Well, I appreciate it, buddy. And when we get up there, make sure you tell Chip to work out something so you can come back and say hello. And hopefully it won't be another year before we talk to each other.
Indeed, man. It's always great talking to you. Much appreciated. Much respect your way, sir. And, as they say in my country, have a gooder, eh?
All right. Have a gooder. Go Rush.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, brother. Thank you.